What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of Motivational Monday. We haven't done one for a minute, so we definitely hear the comments. People at the racetrack, that's probably the most powerful thing when someone comes up to you in person and yells at you a bit that you haven't done something. So before I get into it, the one thing that I want to say is the other thing that we've brought back is we used to do a men's study at the shop. We've brought that back. Tonight's actually our first one, so you guys will probably see this while that's happening. It's going to be the first Monday of every month. So first Monday of every month, the shop's open. If you're a man, you're definitely welcome to come. And like we say in Motivational Monday, you do not have to believe to belong. You can think completely different than we do. You can still come. I believe that you can get something out of it because we're made for a community. And a lot of times as we get older, it's really hard to find community. And the older that I get, the more that I see that is that people are just looking for people to connect with. And the busier that life gets, the harder it is to connect. So again, you don't have to think the same way that I do, or we do, or any of that. Like, you're more than welcome to come. And I feel like you'll get something out of it. And you won't be just hearing from me. I'm going to have a bunch of different guys come and talk. Tonight is my good friend Chuck Whitlock. So a lot of the stuff that you hear from the examples that I give, stuff like that, is from doing life with Chuck. But let's get into this one. A few weeks ago, I guess it's been more than a few weeks ago now, but we were at Gangsters Paradise for Jeff Thomas's race. Ended up being it was a great weekend. But it didn't start off great. I definitely made some mistakes that weekend, and so let me kind of paint a picture for you. The Gangsters Paradise race, there's a lot of really fast cars. The surface was pretty tricky. They hadn't raced on it a whole lot, so it was honestly about as no prep as a no prep could get, which really works in our favor of the nitrous car. We can really get after it to 330 foot. And Brad was making really, really good decisions. Like, our car, I'll be honest, and I heard this from a lot of people, it was noticeably faster than most everybody on the property, especially to the 330 foot mark. So I just felt like, man, tonight's our night. Like, there's some hitters here, but tonight's the night. And we ended up into the semifinals, and we were racing Isaac Preston and Frank. And man, the starting line was really electric, and all of our crew, I mean, everybody was just pumped up because we just knew, like, I could just feel the victory, right? Like, I just knew, like, man, we got the car to beat tonight. Tonight is the night. It's Charlie's night. It's our night. This is it. And we roll up, do our whole deal, and I go to purge the car, and I have a procedure of how I do things. And I go down, I turn the quarter turn on, then I arm the nitrous, and then I purge it, and I do all that. The car purges one time, and then it won't purge again. So I get on the radio and I tell Brad, I'm like, hey, I think the purge is broken. And he's like, doesn't matter, just send the thing down through there. We got a job to do. Doesn't matter what the model pressure is, we're going. So I go and I put the car in. The beams are, Lippy brings me in, and man, I let go of the button, and there's no party. Charlie has no party. And I'm idling down the racetrack, and about 330 foot, I see Frank Schutz come out, and I'm like, you big dumb idiot. I reached down, and I had bumped the quarter turn valve, but I didn't turn it all the way. So it let some nitrous get in the line where it purged, but I didn't turn it on all the way. In my brain, in that moment, big dumb idiot, it purged nitrous the first time. So I didn't think like, oh, the quarter turn's not all the way on. And in that moment, in that race car, I felt about this big. Man, I was so mad at myself. And, like, when you race as a team, you know, we all have moments of where we make a bad decision or whatever that affects the team. And in that moment, it was me. Everybody else made really good decisions, and I did not double check something that was so unbelievably simple. And we get down to the end of the racetrack, and Isaac gets out of the car, and me and him, man, we know each other well, you know. And he's like, "What happened, man?" And I'm like, I couldn't even muster the courage to tell him like what really happened. I'm like, "It's something wrong with the nitrous," and I knew what was wrong with the nitrous. So I feel bad about that now. Like I should have told him the truth, but I was like, again, dude, I felt like this big, and I like got out of the car and I just sat in the grass by myself, and I'm like, I never wanted, and I couldn't say never, but in life there's moments of where, gosh, we want to roll back time, you know, like that. All the movies with the time machines, you're like, dude, I wish Back to the Future was real. I wish Charlie was a DeLorean and Doc Brown was here and we could go back in time and I could just bump that switch just a little more, right? Just bump that quarter turn valve just a little more so that Charlie would have all the party. And I didn't even want to see the boys. You know what I mean? Like if I could have, I would have just started walking home. You know what I mean? Like that's how I felt. Like, cause I just knew that was our night. You know what I mean? I just knew it. And so the boys, they get down there. Brad already has Brad's smart, right? Brad's already kind of put together the scenario of what's happening. And there's a lot of things that I love about Brad. But one of the things I really love about him is he's very cut and dry, right, Rick? Like, he's very like, this is, yeah, whatever. He's like, you screwed up. Tomorrow's a new day. Get in the car. We're going back to the trailer. He's like, it's all right. You screwed up. We win and lose together. Get in the car. We're going back to the trailer. And so yeah, gosh, man, even reliving it, I feel like duh. And I think, like I said, in life, we all have those moments of where we want to go back in time and change it. But the reality is, we don't have Doc Brown. We don't have a DeLorean. We can't go 88 miles an hour and go back in the future. It just, or back to Magnus High. Just doesn't happen. So I got back to the trailer. Nick's there. All the boys are there. Nick is playing a Cher song. If I could turn back time. You just playing it on repeat. Just, it's really, it matters who you do life with, 1,000%. And we laughed. They laughed, I should say. And it was taking me a minute. Yeah, I went to bed, right? I thought about what I've done. And in the Bible, it always says that like God's newness is fresh in the morning. Like, that's a paraphrase, but like there's newness in the morning, right? The sun goes down, the sun comes up. It's a new day. It's time to get after it again. And thankfully, in this scenario, Gangsters Paradise is a 2-day race. So we have in theory, we have the ability to have redemption the next day, right? We hope we do. So we get up, and it was just a really fun day. Like, I screwed up. Everybody made signs. Like, Scarlett was with Nick, which is Nick's little girl. Jimmy Dale and Paul were there. They stopped at the dollar store, got all these posters. And then there were some other people that made posters as well, Happy and Kinsey. And just, our crew is so good at just flipping a circumstance to make it a positive thing. And that happened relatively quick, right? Like, Friday is like, and Saturday we wake up with that newness. We're making signs. We're making fun of me. We're making fun of us. We're going to have a good time with it. And we roll into eliminations, and definitely the signs helped me all day. So I appreciate you guys. And just remember that I'll never forget. I shouldn't say never, but it's very unlikely that I'll ever do that again, right? So you definitely learn from things. And we made it again. I think it was the semifinals, right? When we raced Rick? Yeah, semifinals. So it kind of like the day we had a similar day, right? The cards kind of fell, and we brought old Charlie up to the starting line. Everybody's got their signs up, and I just knew it, man. I knew it. Let go of the button, and Charlie did his thing, and it was a really good race, and we beat him, and we got our redemption, right? And it was even sweeter than it would have been on Friday, because we overcame something, and we did it as a group. And like I said, I think in life, we just want to turn back the wheels of time. And what happens a lot in situations is we get so tied up in that situation that we can't change. We can't change what happens. And then we lose days. Sometimes we lose weeks. And you know what? Sometimes we lose years over a situation that we cannot change. We cannot go back in time. It cannot happen. And what that situation reminded me of is like the quicker that you can take the loss, that you can take the failure and then spin it to a positive and move on, learn something and move on, the more successful that you'll be in life. The more years and the more time that you will not waste, right? You gotta recover quickly. You have to. Like, life is way too short. And there's been a bunch of stuff happen here recently that has very much reminded me that life is way too short to worry about having a time machine to go back and change something that we cannot. And in this book, this book is full of failure, full of it. It's a lot of failure in this. But there's also a lot of victory on the other side of failure. And I think for a good story, it's any good story, right? Any good movie that you like, there's a plot, right? There's some ups and there's some downs. There's failure and then there's victory. And that victory is so much sweeter when you know what it's like to fail. In Romans 8, there's just a quick verse that a lot of people say it, right? And it says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. And that's like a short thing that it's a lot. This cup says mermaid material, but that Bible verse is on a lot of coffee cups. But there's really no context. The context is things are going to happen. We're going to forget to turn the quarter on all the way. We're going to, whatever your thing is, you're going to forget to do stuff. But if you let it, that can work for your good, and you can have an amazing story on the other side of it, and that victory can be so much sweeter. This example was just a car. This car. But what made it sweeter was the people that we did it with, and then seeing all them signs in the winner's circle was awesome. So in your life, whatever that thing is that you feel like you've screwed up, whatever it is, let it go, man. Doc Brown and the DeLorean's not coming. But what can come is a change in your mindset and a victory on the other side of failure. So we love you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.